People will definitely be Karens after this video. Last covered week 1 recap, and we did week 2 predictions. This week we're going to cover week 2 recap and week 3 predictions. So, last week was definitely an interesting week. Prepare for us to say the words upset, disappointing, and predictable in some cases, because that was the theme of last week.
Hey, there were some great games.
There were some.
Predictable outcome of some of those games, but they were still good.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them.
Some weren't.
Alright, and now we're going to individually talk about them as we go along. So first off, we have the Ruin Valley Roserades tying the Jubilife Jirachis. Kind of expected that they will tie because both teams look pretty even, but as you look at their matchups and who won, it's definitely worth talking about, shall we?
Yes.
So first off, Ssubers, we got 7992 beating Sai. This was a pretty interesting game, I would say. However,
I called this. People were saying Sai was gonna win, but I'm like, nah. 7992 actually plays the tier.
Yeah, I also predicted 7992 to win, simply because he has the more Uber's experience from what I've seen, and he definitely can play better.
He isn't exactly a bad player.
No, definitely not. No,
he's very underestimated. He's not up there with the pros, I'd say, but he's not bad. Yeah,
same opinions here. So taking a look at this game, the first few turns, Paraflinch Necrozma seems to be kind of the common strat against Yveltal nowadays.
Nah, it's like Yveltal, Eternatus, either one, honestly. Paraflinch, anything you can do, you can Paraflinch.
Guys, there is a better move for Necrozma. It's called Stone Edge. Use it.
No.
Why not? Paraflinch Necrozma over Stone Edge?
Because that has, like, no PP.
8? Okay, apparently 8 is considered 0. So yeah, 7992...
Eternatus has pressure. Do you know how fast that would use up Stone Edge?
I guess so. Well, alright then. Well,
besides, you don't need Stone Edge to hit a Yveltal. You need that for a Ho-Oh, and like Ho-Oh isn't exactly the most common.
I guess so. So the rest of the game played out exactly as it is, with Mars Shadow and Eternatus just kind of sweeping the rest of Sai's team, which was to be expected. So next up, we got Balor losing to Starmaster.
Was that the one with the double Blacephalons?
Yes, it was. Despite, the predictable outcome, I will give credit to Balor, though, for having a pretty strong Dragapult start, with Specs doing half to both Rotom and Clefable. I guess Clef isn't exactly the most bulky special-wise, but, some people tend to run bulky Clef.
Still, doing around half is pretty good there.
Yeah. There was an instance, of course, where Overheat Blacephalon O-code the Clef. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that just happened naturally because it was Specs.
Unfortunately, Balor sacking the Heatran was pretty crucial because he doesn't have any Blacephalon afterwards, and guess what?
He wasn't exactly high on HP at the time either, so I don't know if it mattered that much at all.
But still losing your best check against Heatran, Blacephalon, who would ultimately swept the rest of this team in the end. It was pretty crucial, and that's why Balor had to lose.
He screwed up the moment he let it take damage.
Yep,
he choked it. It didn't have anything to do with the fact he sacked it.
Yeah, that was a big time choke on Balor's part, and Starmaster played it around pretty beautifully and ended up winning as a result.
Yeah, Scarf Blacephalon versus Specs Blacephalon, and the Scarfer, of course, came out on top.
No surprise there. Next up, we got another SSOU, Starreal beating Kyotoshi, which a lot of people kind of predicted happen, but
yeah, even I predicted that.
But
Kyotoshi may be like good, but Starreal is like
is it no you mean?
The more OU player.
Yeah. This was a weird game, to be honest. First, you got the knockoff fest at the start. Okay. But then, Kyotoshi ended up being unlucky with his tornadoes. It kept missing the crucial hurricanes, and of course, it got critted as well by Stars Lando, which was pretty unfortunate.
What did the Lando use that crit it, huh?
I don't remember. I don't remember either, but there was certainly a crit that mattered. No, it didn't matter, but did
you sure
a lot
you're
more.
not thinking of like Harshall versus TJ there?
No, I definitely watched this.
That was Raji versus Airfare, wasn't it?
No, that was the that was the other one. Not this one is different. There was an unusual poison jab reveal from Kyotoshi's Toxapex, which you never really see Toxapex run any poison moves at all, just toxic.
Well, I won't say I haven't seen it, but it is pretty rare.
Then Starreal played around weirdly with Heatran against Kyo's Heatran. For context, Starreal's had Flame Body, and Perk 30 had Flash Fire, and Starreal just kept hitting the Magma Storm on the Heatran when really there are other checks that he had at the time, like the Garchomp first of all. He could have just scale shotted the Heatran and just played it that way, but it was weird. It was a weird play. And of course, the game ended, of course, with the typical Garchomp sweep. The sword stance, scale shot, earthquake, fire fang set that you see all the time. That's how it ended. It was a weird game overall.
Not gonna lie, I remember watching this game live somewhat and thinking, oh, it looks like Kyotoshi's winning, but then I look again and he lost pretty badly or something.
Kyotoshi's being 0-2. Oof, alright, not a good start.
He's not a pink-haired anime girl.
Oof, we're back. Poke art. You're really trying to take shots there.
He's just 0 wins to 2 losses.
Oof. Next up, we got SSUU, Plas versus Sheba. This was the last game that happened in the week. And
yeah, quite literally. The link was posted at 11:59.
So, nothing really much worth noting. There was an instance, of course, with Conkeldurr critting the Swampert with Drain Punch and still not being able to kill it.
Yeah, but it brought it really low.
Yeah, it put it at low. 2. It put it at low, and Plas was able to switch it back in when Conkeldurr was really low. Basically suck it in quotation marks, and then letting Conkeldurr burn up its burn and die. Yeah, it was nothing other than that though. Nothing really much happened otherwise. It was just a pretty even contest with good showings from both players. Plus just ended up getting the W by having his Celesteela wall Hydreigon and basically getting the special defense boost against Aegislash and Raikou.
Oh yeah.
So that was a pretty good. Showing. Plus 2-0 against UU Goats, very impressive. On the other.
Well, I don't know if Luthier is considered a UU goat. He's just a general goat.
Yeah, but
Sheba is specifically a UU goat, so that's something.
Speaking of Sheba, 0-2 in UU. All right. Next up, Zio Trip versus John Filch and RU. Another pretty interesting game, I would say. This one, so this game, John Filch's Reuniclus actually got some early spotlight. It had the acid armor set, and it was used to kill Celebi, who had Nasty Plot, which could have been a threat to John's team. Unfortunately, Reuniclus was able to basically wall Celebi and managing to kill him. Circuitry looked prime in position to sweep for Zio's team, even killing Umbreon with a crit Dazzling Gleam. But John got the Toxic off Crobat, proved essential, and basically saved John from any chances from losing.
Wait, Dazzling Gleam crit?
Yeah, it critted the Umbreon at one point, the Circuitry.
I thought it was already in range for a 2-hit KO.
Guess not, apparently. Ultimately, though, Reuniclus came back in and won the game, basically taking out, I think it is Banded Flygon, and won the game for John Filch. So that was fun.
Remember any Dazzling Gleam crit?
Are you watching the game right now?
No, because it's not linked on the list of matchups.
Ooh,
That was done for the first week, but not this week.
No, check. Okay, check. I'm gonna send you something that you can check, just in case. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Also, I'd like to mention how great this set is, even if it's heavy duty boots.
Gastrodon helmet with sticky hold.
Very nice set as well.
Do we want to resume?
Yes. Next up, we got Ssnu Anarchy. Oh, yeah, I covered the rest of the game. SSNU Anarchius versus Phantom Mystics.
Ah, yes. Stall.
This one, we caught this game live, and my god, the things in this game that boggle the human mind, okay? First up...
More like, it was half the time it's just us screaming, Phantom, do it. Now.
Alright, so let's take a look. The first part of this game, Anarchius actually lost his Articuno really early into the game. It was a welcome surprise, giving the Phantom the early edge into this matchup. But over the course of the
So we thought.
But over the course of the game, Phantom had trouble trying to trick Vape with Rotom, which I think is what Phantom was going for, but it ended up tricking the Eldegoss instead.
Basically, he probably wasn't as loose with those tricks as he hoped he could be, because Quillfish had Black Sludge.
And it was still alive, yeah. So that could be in trouble. I mean, he could also like trick it away, right? To try to trick Vape that way.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Also, we'd like to mention Anarchius' Escavalier set, which had Rest Talk, Megahorn, and Swords Dance. A pretty good set, and it was able to live on the littlest amount of HP in order to get some crucial rests in. And it even killed Talonflame, which Phantom kinda needed, to be honest, because 2/3 of Anarch's team lose to it, even though he didn't have a fire move. He only had Will-O-Wisp. He only had Brave Bird to take that in.
You don't see a Escavalier beating a Talonflame every day in a 1v1.
And of course, the rest of the game, it was basically a PP stall fashion, as Anarchus just kept PP stalling Phantom's Vaporeon, letting it run out of Wish, and letting Rotom run out of Leaf Storm to take out Vape. So it was
Didn't it run out of Leaf Storm and Volt Switch?
Oh, it did. Yeah. He only had Trick.
Ran out of attacks.
Yeah, he ran out of attacks. He only had Trick and something else, maybe Defog.
Defog, yeah.
Unfortunate that Vape couldn't wish the X-Blob, because that would have been really essential here in this matchup.
Anarchus wasn't really giving him the opportunity.
Which is sad, and I think Anarchus knew that going in, and that's why he played around that one well.
Duh. That's why there were so
and
many
you go
exchanges of skulls between the Vaporeons. They were both looking to catch another Mon in on the Switch.
Yeah, and so Anarchus continues to prove why he is the NU GOAT. Next up, Sspu, Ladywriter beating Avidus. This was a welcome surprise. Avidus kind of brought like a weird PU team. I wasn't really a fan of it because it had Bravebird Articuno, which granted you never see every day, but still kind of a pretty bad, kind of a not. I wasn't a fan. I just wasn't a fan of this team. And then some other things happened, which Ladywriter Scrafty was pretty much the MVP of this team with a pretty unique set. I never get to see like close combat crunch a lot, and poison jab. And poison jab. Allowing it to break Quagsire and poison jab the Aromatisse and the Articuno at several points.
Break Quagsire? Do you mean like with crunch?
No, it kept close combating at crucial turns. It kept close combating, which Quagsire couldn't ultimately break through and wall, and unfortunately it killed. It ended up dying as a result.
Interesting. It seems to be defensive, though.
Kind of,
because it's clearly carrying a Rocky helmet.
Kind of, yeah. And of course, the ending, Ladywriter kind of impressed me at the end with some good plays with Togedemaru. So he played that endgame pretty well, I'd say. And yeah, beating the lower tier, a lower tier's main like Avidus on your first BLT match. Good on you, Ladywriter. Can't wait to see more of you in the future.
And we will.
Oh, yeah.
Playing this week.
Yay! Next up, Sslc Kither versus Excelsior.
Another upset.
I wasn't a fan of this match, honestly. This was a pretty bad match. The start of this game was pretty unlucky for Kither because Gurki and later Minfu got burned at the start. So that was unfortunate. But also Kither, he was getting haxed quite a bit in this matchup. I wasn't really a fan. No shade, of course, to Excelsior. I think he played better than he did last week. And able to beat Kither is certainly a huge accomplishment, but in this fashion, but beating Kither this way, yeah, I wasn't a fan. A pretty match, all things considered, and Excelsior picking up his first win in quite some time, honestly.
Oh, come on. How long has it really been?
I can't remember. Sorry, Excel. No shade. Next up, SSD.
Also, Miko, I'm watching Ladywriter versus Avarice, and I just want to say this thing doesn't have crunch.
Oh, what was I?
You lied to me.
What was I thinking? I thought that thing had crunch. Also, the unique set I was mentioning on Scrafty, it was Substitute, not Crunch. Just gonna. Next up, we have SMB versus Jonas in doubles. Finally, SMB has come back and won this game. But credit to SMB and Jonas for actually delivering a pretty good doubles game. Not gonna lie. So this game, SMB started off pretty nicely with a Psychic Terrain start, which Necrozma ultimately kind of just swept 2/3 of Jonas's Mons. That was pretty nice. The Expanding Force really does help. And of course, in the end, the rest of the game ended up being pretty predictable as SMB just kind of outplayed Jonas, and Jonas just had a hard time breaking through most of SMB's team, and ultimately SMB just wins with Milotic ice beaming the Lando, as you just seen. So very impressive there. And finally, in SS Monotype, we got Seis versus Maki.
Don't say finally. We have like 3 other series.
Well, finally in terms of this series.
Don't get my hopes up.
Okay. This game between Seis and Maki both brought mental electric teams. I mean, Stunfisk, Toxtricity, Vikavolt, Rotom Frost? Are they mad? I think they are.
They shared like 4 of the same Mons on their teams, right?
Yes, they did. The only difference was Dracozolt and Rotom Frost, and then here Rotom Heat and Tapu Koko. And Magnezone. So, this game, the first 4 turns of this game are embarrassing messes. You got a Blizzard Miss right here. Zapdos sets up the Substitute. And then Zapdos missed the Toxic and missed it again.
And then just when an attacker was about to come in to take that poison because it's immune,
Zapdos misses the Heat Wave.
That's when Zapdos uses an attack instead, probably calling that.
And he missed
but
it.
But that attack missed too.
He missed Heat Wave on the Toxtricity. Embarrassing.
What's embarrassing about that?
Just shameful. Out of shame. I'm ashamed.
What's shameful about
that? Because your electric users are freaking not. Are they what? What was that item again? Wise goggles or something like that? I don't remember.
I think you mean wise glasses.
Wise glasses, right. So yeah, that was embarrassing. Seis actually brought some pretty cool tech, honestly. Like, first off, you got the Shift Gear, Drain Punch, Toxtricity, which I know...
That isn't new!
I know that thing is common. I know that thing is common with Toxtricity sets because...
It's not common, but it's not a new set. I've seen it before.
Mixed Toxtricity sets do rule, honestly. So, very nice there. But also, Seis also brought Infestation Toxtricity, Stunfisk, actually. Which was pretty nice. And then, of course, the rest of the game had Maki, had Toxtricity, Boom Burst, a pretty good chunk about a Mons in Seis' team. And ultimately, Maki just ended up dominating the rest of this game. Which was nice.
Yeah.
Well, everything Seis couldn't do, Maki just got outplayed and did better. So good on you. So it was a good showing overall for Maki. All right, next.
Despite using a weird electric team, yes.
Yes. Next up, we have the Salacion Solgaleos beating the Dressrosa Dracovishes. Surprising? Maybe. But when you look at the teams, you get your hopes up. First up, SSU Burst. Rim Sit B defeating Leiru. This one was a fun game, not gonna lie.
You don't see Shedinja every day.
I quite like this, especially with the team Rim Sit B brought, which is Shedinja. Which basically pretty much was the MVP of this team, not gonna lie. Marshallow's low kick. Marshadow bringing low kick was interesting, but it was only really useful for Yveltal, and I wouldn't necessarily use this against the rest of Rim Sit B's team, which, well, aside from Necrozma, but everything else walls it, so why? Of course, the biggest highlight of this match, Leiru tried to do the Eternatus Cosmic Power set, but he was having a hard time setting up against Shedinja, and when he switched it out, Shedinja was already at +6 with Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak the Marshadow, basically calling that predict and killing the Marshadow as a result. And of course, the rest of this game had Rim just kind of just outplaying and being dominant as Life Orb Eternatus just kind of walled the rest of Leiru's team. So that was impressive. Can't wait to see more of Rimsit B in this tour because, my god, that guy is an Uber's goat. Alright, next up we got Airfare beating Clean. You saw this game live, didn't you? Or did you not?
I don't know.
So, this game, Clean exploded Lando with his own Lando. Clever.
Is that the one with the normal gem?
Yeah, it is. It is a normal gem Landers,
I may have seen that.
Which killed the other Landos, which is very clever. The rest of the game, though, not. It was standard OU affair, honestly. Nothing really too surprising. Even with the Dragon Dance dual Wingbeat Dragonite, Feeny is just too bulky and basically lived these in order for Feeny to kill Dragonite. The rest of this game, of course, played out exactly like it is. Clean tried to do some late game strats, especially with the Moltres Galar running Agility Hurricane, and Urshifu coming in every now and then to try to offset some of these. It was good, but ultimately Weavile just kind of got lucky with some of these attacks. First of all, killing the Moltres, and being able to knock off Urshifu's protective pads in order for Pharaoh to basically Iron Barbs kill it.
Yeah.
That was good technique by Airfare in order to win that particular game. So good on you, Airfare. You impressed this week over last week, I will say. Next up, Quilly versus Cern. I saw this game live and yeah, I wasn't really impressed with Quilly and OU. Ballsy first turn though by Cern to Toxic Zapdos. Well, let's take a look here, okay? Tornadus comes in, Toxics the Zapdos. Zapdos does Thunderbolt, and Tornadus lives on 1. Very ballsy start, if I do say so myself.
Wow.
There was a particular moment though that is a head scratcher. So Quilly has Dragapult out. Garchomp does the Swords Dance. And then Dragapult did Hex. Assuming this would be the substitute Will-O-Wisp Hex set, why didn't Quilly just go for Will-O-Wisp?
Do we know what item the Garchomp was?
No, not necessarily, but...
Could have been Lumberry.
Really? I mean, maybe. Yeah, I guess, but... Wait a minute. This thing had... Wait a minute. This thing did not get affected by boots, I think. Let me recheck this game again.
Huh?
Oh, no. Oh, no, sorry. He tried to set up rocks. But yeah. Dragapult did not... Why couldn't he just Will-O-Wisp the Garchomp?
Maybe he felt like it had Lumberry.
I mean, if it still did, then he's pretty much effed. But, yeah, nothing really much... anything else to note afterwards. Garchomp not being burned basically allowed Cern to just carry the rest of this game. Because it was doing quite a lot. Because, yeah, Quilly ended up forfeiting because Garchomp was being used pretty effectively, and Quilly just had a hard time playing around it. So it was an unfortunate loss there for Quilly, but a good win by Cern. Next up, a hype UU match that ultimately disappointed. Oras Mega versus Dugza. I thought this game was gonna go really good with how the two played their first few turns. Cause look at this level amount of play. Look at this amount of predicts. That's good stuff in UU, and especially with the teams that they're given, that was pretty good. And then Keldeo came in. Right around here. Keldeo came in. Did the Calm Mind, did the Icy Wind. Feiji should have really switched with Hetran, but I guess he felt the need to try to flinch it with Jirachi. But this thing came in late, and Keldeo just did more than half. Feiji should have really started with this is after his Flygon died. Should have really switched this in, killed the Keldeo that way. But by this point in this game, it was already too late, and Dugza just ended up cleaning the rest of this game with Raikou. Got anything else to add, Pokeart?
I'm tired.
Good insight. Good insight. Next up, Floss versus Crucify in RU.
Oh boy.
This game, we called this game as it happened. First couple of turns, the reveal of the Silk Scarf Beware was pretty nice. As you can see,
Interesting.
As you can see right here. But, you know, it was already knocked off by the point. But, yeah, it had Silk Scarf, which could have been used to take out Togekiss. Floss ended up using Explosion on the Milotic. A good choice. But it ended up coming to bite him in the ass later because he kind of needed Metagross, honestly.
Yeah, when he did that, I was like, oh, I understand what you're doing here, but I think you needed that Mon.
He did needed that Mon. After a fairly lackluster game, Floss just kept losing his more reliable Mons until he was left with Roserade and Togekiss going up against Crobat, Raikou, and Flygon. He kind of needed Rhyperior and Metagross, honestly.
Didn't Floss also have a Togekiss, or did you say that already?
I did say that already.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, it ended up being a Crucify. It was just a slow motion kill, and Floss ultimately lost in the end. Fairly disappointed in that performance, honestly. Crucify, good on you, though, for beating the RU GOAT that is Floss. Next up, SSNU. iNasty beating GXE. You watched this game live, didn't you, Pokeart?
No.
Oh, but you did watch it back.
I think so.
Actually, we can. Oh yeah. This one was.
Yeah, I remember thinking as I went through watching the game, there's no way GXC loses this, right? And then he did.
And he did. It was a fairly light game. Copper Raja and Mudsdale had quite the interesting war at one point where Mudsdale was trying to toxic something. I guess it was Surfetched or Rotom, either or. But yeah, Mudsdale tried to toxic, and iNasty just kept whittling down the Mudsdale until, GXE had to just Earthquake it, but to no avail. Also, he missed. Also, Copper missed this crucial Power Whip. Lol. But, credit to that Copper though, for being able to stand up the Mudsdale and to take out the Starmie with Power Whip. So that was very good. And yes, Surfetched cleaned up the rest of this game. Leaving us to wonder, is iNasty good in NU as he is good at PU as well? Short answer, probably. Next up, SPU, Patek versus Druid. This was a pretty predictable game, first of all. The game at the start, it was a very HOE start with a lot of hyper offensive plays at the beginning. Well, first of all, the Gallade knocked off the Choice Band, able to deal a fair amount of damage to Silvally Fairy, which was pretty nice. Scarf Togedemaru beating Charizard. Unfortunate that Druid didn't call the switch, but, that's Mons for ya. After a few turns of solid play, Druid then tried to have the Arceus basically Earthquake the Scrafty, and it kept living these hits, with Shed Skin being the downer. Even though it was Choice Scarfed, it was tricked by Choice Scarf, Druid just couldn't kill and basically wasted a fair amount of the PP left on his Archeops. And basically let Scrafty kept living until it finally died at the end. And finally, of course, it was all left down to Togedemaru and Charizard, which ultimately killed Gourgeist and Archeops at the end game. So that was pretty nice. Patek ultimately win and, prove all the haters wrong. Patek is good in PU. Next up, SSLC. Frieza Weaver versus Ace Hunter. Oh boy. This game was a pretty disappointing, all things considered. Okay, first of all, there was one instance of both their Diglets playing pivotal roles. Ace's Diglett was doing the beat up strat and chip not to, while Frizzo's was able to trap Ace's Diglett and safely kill it. That was pretty nice. And then it was just an evenly contested game with Frizzo having the pretty clear advantage. It did result in a timer win, unfortunately, but it was pretty clear that Frizzo would win that game. Agreed? Okay. Frizzo Eva, Ace Hunter.
Oh, we moved on, okay.
Yeah. Next up, SSDOU. Shadow Monster versus Z-Strats. For the 800th time.
Wait, you covered Frizzo versus Ace Hunter already?
I did. Did you zone out?
Wow.
Alright, so Shadow versus Z-Strats for the 800th time. I swear, these two just can't stop fighting. Fight forever. Clap, 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 clap. But credit to Z-Strats, though. He had a pretty damn fire Trick Room team, honestly. This was pretty much one... This team was pretty better than last week, and I'm very happy that he used it. So yeah, this felt like a VGC game, honestly. With Z-Strats using Dustclops and Glastrier and setting up the weakness policy that way. A very, very good, which is a VGC strat we've come to familiarize all so well. But quite a surprise, though, is that Volcanion also had weakness policy. Even with Rock Tomb, it also had weakness policy, which was pretty dang dope.
Wow, wacky.
Of course, the ending... So, yeah, Z-Strats ultimately played this game quite better. Shadow wasn't really able to play around this team, and it kept cheesing the whole way through until Dustclops managing to kill Volcarona with Rock Tomb. Poetic. And finally, we get for this series at least, another huge upset. Poe beating Kaguya-Liss.
Oh yeah, steel versus steel.
This was almost mirror team. First of all, except Poe bringing Magneton and Kaguya-Liss bringing Registeel. But when you actually looked at this game, Poe kind of played better, honestly. Poe played exceptionally well. First of all, tanking the Heatran Earth Power. I know it's special defensive Heatran, I know that, but he called, of course, the Lava Plume on the Celesteela, and of course, when he switched to Heatran, Earth powered up, killed the Heatran. Very good Poe. Very good play there. The rest of the game, Kaguya-Liss just couldn't play around Pote's Aegislash well. And just ultimately, it walled all of it. It walled all of Kaguya's team. Even with the Iron Defense Body Press Registeel set, it couldn't save Kaguya because Pote does have the AG still intact. And yeah, Pote ended up playing this game better and ultimately won. So good on you, Pote. Good on you for winning this game.
Yeah, good on you for knocking out his Heatran early.
Yeah. And yeah, it's quite a surprise because we never really ranked Pote as a high tier mono player. Not with this pool at least. But maybe the success in PSPL just kind of rubbed off on him. Honestly. Next up, I really don't want to talk about this, but here you go. Lavender Laprases murdering the Santaloon Swamperts. It was a murder. 8-1. Let's talk about these matches, shall we? Poker, how did you feel about the Ubers game? Aberforth versus FC. Okay? How'd you feel about FC versus Aberforth?
Domination. Is that the one where Hawthorne was the Messiah?
The who?
The Messiah.
Who was your Messiah?
That's what I just asked.
Oh. Zekrom?
I just asked, is that the one where Ferrothorn was the Messiah?
No, that was another week, I think. This one was a pretty interesting game.
Is this the one with Zekrom?
Yes, this is the one with Zekrom. I turn your attention to turn 12 and see what I mean. Zekrom came in. And you see Necrozma setting up the rocks. Xerneas switches in. And guess what Aberforth did? Bolt Strike.
What did he do?
Bolt Strike.
Wow.
And basically left Xerneas for low, which was a bad switch in FC's case, but maybe he was expecting something.
A dragon type move, perhaps.
FC's Zekrom did get critted by Aberforth's Zekrom with Scale Shot, but it kinda didn't matter, to be honest, because Zekrom was already low. But no, it kinda did matter, honestly, because he wouldn't have been able to live freaking 2 hit KOs and all that. So yeah, Aberforth's Zekrom had a pretty unique set. Roost, Bolt Strike, Scale Shot, and Draco Meteor. You never really see those running around. And Aberforth just remained dominant for the rest of the game with a tricking Kyogre and more well-timed plays. And Aberforth just kept on dominating FC. So, okay, PokeArt, I will concede in saying that Aberforth is the better player of the two.
That was obvious.
Next up, Harshall versus TJ. I can't wait to talk about this one because my jeebers, guys, this was the best match of the week, hands down.
Really?
This is my favorite game of the week. It was so bad.
I don't know. Easy versus GW.
I mean, I'll talk about that when we talk about that. But Harshall versus TJ is my personal pick for match of the week. First of all, you got Harshall's Flame Body Heatran set, which was pretty unique. There was an interesting Tornado set, a substitute Hurricane set with boots. That was pretty good. And yeah, the rest of the game was really good. If there's one game from this week that you want to watch, go watch this one, Harshall versus TJ. This one was a fun one. The ending was very close, with Landorus living with 1 HP, clutching that win and killing the Tapu Koko.
1%, not 1 HP.
Well, I'd like to think that was 1 HP. But, yeah, it was a very clutch win by Landorus and able to killing the Koko just in case for the win. Very good win by Harshall. Guys, you're sleeping on the OU GOAT.
I'm sleeping, period.
Next up, Reginald versus...
Harshall is so goated.
He is. Next up, Reginald versus Failures. My god. This went by quick. First off, you got Pirouette missing an overheat on the Tornadoes. A very bad omen. A very, very bad omen indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't one-hit kill anyways, but that was still unfortunate.
Yeah, there was a slow...
left torn lower.
There was, of course, the Tornadoes, a Slowbro versus Volcanion war, ending with Volcanion just basically doing 50% to Slowbro. And, he just couldn't tank the hits, unfortunately, and ultimately ended up dying.
And then there was the Torn, the crit on the Torn.
Yes,
Steam Eruption.
Yes, that was an unfortunate crit, which, I think this was the special tank, or maybe it was Corviknight, but Pero ended up being crippled by that. And yeah...
It was the Torn. That was a special tank, I think.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it ended up crippling Pirouette and ultimately forfeited because of that. Unfortunate, but I will give credit though. Raji played better this week than last week.
Oh, Raji's a hitting goat.
Yeah. When he plays well, Reginald is absolutely a goat. So, I need to see more of that performance, please, Reginald.
Except he's not as hidden as Harshall, because, like, people didn't know who Harshall was.
Yeah. Next up, Udon Girl versus Dunox, with Dunox basically getting the only win from the Swamperts.
Wow, he's the only one with a positive record on that team, I think. Or at least he's the only one who's 2-0.
Wait till next week. This one...
You mean this week?
This week. There was an early reveal of Eject Button Amoongus, which was a pretty clever set. I'm not exactly sure what Udon Girls teams is for this one, but Hydreigon tried to pick up kills, but it just couldn't, which was pretty unfortunate. And yeah, the rest of the game played pretty predictably. Udon Girl just had a hard time getting into good positions and taking advantage of calling predicts. Aegislash showing why it deserves to be banned from UU by picking up kills on the Tangrowth and the Hydreigon, and Primarina ended up cleaning the Skarmory and the Azumarill.
It deserves to be banned so much that it actually got banned.
It did. And props to you, because Aegislash is pretty broken in UU. Why have people not been talking about Aegislash and UU being broken?
They have been, clearly, because it's banned.
Good. They noticed that now. Next up, RU. Rs9 versus Theo. This one was a good game, I will say. There were the first couple of this turns were odd because Reuniclus only managed to end up knocking off the Sarina's heavy duty boots, and then it basically got sacked. Okay. Metagross came in, and I was pretty happy about this set because it was the Metagross set that, that is quite a pop. The Cosmic Power, Body Press, Meteor Mash Rest set. But Rs9 did play around it beautifully, as you can see right around here. Right around here. Jellicent just kind of walls Metagross, honestly. Even letting it run out of Meteor Mashes and basically crippling the Metagross because it didn't have Meteor Mash anymore. So that was unfortunate. Special Crobat, though, deserves some mention. Rs9 brought a Nasty Plot, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Heat Wave, Crobat. That was pretty nice. And was able to take...
I wish he got to use it more. I saw that in the builder, and I was like, oh my god, I want to see this in action.
But yeah, it wasn't ultimately used a lot, but that's a set that I want to see more of. Special Crobat. And then finally, Zarina just ended up sweeping the rest of Theo's team. Not a surprise.
Oh well.
Next up, Ssnu. Ziri versus Team Charm. Another really good game. As you can probably see from the, even from preview, right here. Both brought pretty good teams. Ziri brought no defogs. No hazard removal. While Team Charm brought pretty much Garboder and Bronzor, which had hazards. Ziri's Indeedee play, though, was strong, able to trick two Mons into being given bad items. He got the Bronzor, he tricked the Bronzor to having choice specs, and he also tricked the Vaporeon into having Eviolite so it can get leftovers. That was nice. But there was one goat I will mention. Vileplume. Vileplume had a really, really broken set. PokeArt, you know this set. You know this set all too well, right?
Demon Vileplume?
The Vileplume.
Infestation Demon Vileplume?
Yes. This.
The Rocky Helmet, I think?
Yes, it was Infestation.
Strength Sap and Sludge Bomb and
Synthesis, I believe. With Rocky Helmet. So yeah, this Vileplume was the absolute goat. Just able to trap all of Charm's team and successfully breaking and killing them. Which, you know, if Passimian had hit the gunk shot on the Vileplume, we wouldn't be talking about how Vileplume is a freaking goat in this thing. But you just never knew. Vileplume ended up just being the absolute MVP on this team.
Beyond that, even Vileplume was just such a goat.
Yep. Tdnt versus Blimax.
Ended up to all the physical hitters.
Yep. Sspu, Tdnt versus Blimax. Didn't happen, unfortunately, so we're gonna skip that. Next up, we have Skelly versus Papp. Wow, this game. Okay. I will mention, Skelly had a pretty good, LC play. It went way better here than last week, I will say. So that was good. Papp had some unfortunate hacks happen to this game, and I will highlight this first and foremost. It was right around here. So it was Mean Fu versus Mean Fu. Papp went for a high jump kick and missed, causing Mean Fu to knock off the choice scarf off of Mean Fu. That was pretty unfortunate, but also, yeah. And yes, Skelly did miss the high jump kick on his own Mean Fu later, but I think Papp's Mean Fu, who high jump kick miss, was more detrimental, simply because Skelly was going to sack Mean Fu either way. But Mean Fu just kind of needed that scarf because, you know, everything on this team is quite fast. Abra also was a problem for Papp because it kept getting those crucial special defense drops, which, yeah, it was a pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and Gurki ended up cleaning the rest of the game. So an unfortunate game for Papp, all things considered. Skelly did not play too bad this week, but actually played decent. So good on you, Skelly. Next up, actuarially destroying Fangame 10. This was a curb stomp and a half with quite the unique strat. Okay, so this game, I will mention, Fangame had a pretty good idea. He had the Metagross, which was tricked into getting Scarf. But ultimately, Fangame, he tricked away the Scarf to let this thing get Shookaberry, and it was a pretty. That was good. That was good in order for Metagross to keep setting up with Cosmic Power and ultimately doing Body Press, right? Zygarde comes in though, which is pretty hard to play around, especially given the team that Fangame had. Yeah, Zygarde just ultimately got the D-Dance off and got the sweep, which was unfortunate. So a good win for Actuarily and getting that 2-0. Oh no, sorry, 1-1. Getting finally his first win, but Fangame, I really want to see more of you, bud. I really want to see more good games from you because I know you're good. You're just getting unlucky with these matchups. And finally, Maroon versus Plunder. Weird game, this one. It was Poison versus Dark with a weird start. Plunder got Will-O-Wisp burned, but he did have a physical set on his Tyranitar, and it was even able to take out the Drapion, even if the Paralyze did affect him all that much. A fun Nihilego set that we never got to see the rest of. It had Meteor, Beam, and Power Gem, but unfortunately we never got to see the rest of this set, and I really wanted to see more of it. And of course, we got to talk about the goat of this game itself, which was Wheezing, which ended up burning most of the physical attackers, like this, like Tyranitar and Weavile, and yeah, mostly Tyranitar and Weavile. And even Mandibuzz got a burn. And it also did the Strange Steam Confusion. That was pretty nice. If Plunder did have Roost on his Hydreigon, he would have likely won this game because of the unique. But Hydreigon is just one of those mons with four move slot syndrome. Because I want to run like Nasty Plot, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Dark Pulse, Roost, but restricted to just 4 slots. Kind of unfortunate, so that ended up getting a win. And unfortunately, the rest of this game had Toxapex chipping away at the Zarude and ultimately giving Maroon the W. That was nice. You still there, Pokert?
Hardly.
Don't worry, we got 10 more matches to cover. Finally!
That's too many.
Sorry. Finally, we got the majestic Milotics defeating the Sunny Shore Snorlaxes. First game, Miminger versus TDR. This was quite the predictable game, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what happened.
So, I'll tell you what happened. Because I saw this game live. Miminger had a pretty good team right here with Weavile and Yvel. And Weavile, Yveltal, Ho-Oh, Groudon, etc. with TDR having Mew. Okay. There was the first few turns with Life Orb getting knocked off of Necrozma, allowing it to not kill the Groudon, which he kind of sorely needed because Groudon is such a threat. Precipice Blaze taking out the Necrozma. There was Power Herb Meteor Beam Eternatus, which proved to be pretty useful until it got Thunder Waved, and Ho-Oh was able to kill the Eternatus that way, whilst also dying itself. The rest of this game, though, played pretty straightforward, with Miminger ultimately taking the win because DDR had low chances of Mons, and ultimately Miminger took the W. So good on you, Miminger. Next up, Tdnt versus Spooky Z. Okay, art. 2 words. Busted Lando.
Hooray for Busted Landos!
This game
no. Did my brain just really mix
Yes.
that up with Ferrothorn?
yes, it did. So,
what Lando set was this?
So, this Busted Lando had Substitute, Bulk Up, Earthquake, and Smackdown.
Substitute Gravity, Bulk Up, Earthquake!
Smackdown, not Gravity.
Smackdown.
Yeah, not Raw, Smackdown.
Right. With 50s.
Yes, and it even had a wild spread, which Tdnt mentioned, which was, let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, there it is. Wait, no, not here. It was right here. It was max speed, 248 special defense, 8 HP.
Huh.
Wild spread.
Just a little bit of special defense in there, but max speed otherwise.
So as you can probably see if you're watching the game, Skarm did try to Toxic Lando, but as the sub went in, it all went down to crap. So
yeah.
Lando tried to Toxic Lando, but TDNT's wild spread proved otherwise. If Spooky Z just brought Unaware Clef and not Magic Guard, this would have been a lot more salvageable. But unfortunately, he didn't. And Tdnt's Lando set was too busted, too broken, and ultimately got him the win. So good job Tdnt for bringing such a broken ass set in the OU. Alright, next up we got Splorsch versus Zoroark. This actually happened 2 weeks ago. This game, well, actually, it was after the video. It was before the video went up for week 2. But this game, now we're getting the chance to talk about this game. This game was odd. Ferrothorn. Oh, bleh. Okay, so this. So, Splorsch versus Zoroark. Ferrothorn didn't really get to do anything except chip Cortana, which was the only thing that happened for Ferrothorn and ultimately died.
No godly Ferrothorn.
Nope. There were 2 gods of this game, though. First of all was the Heatran, able to trap Slowbro and chip away at the Tornadus. And even took out Cortana, which was a threat on Splorsch's team.
Well, of course it did. It's a Heatran.
Taking out a Cortana. Very nice. Weavile was also an MVP, able to set up properly the sword stance off, and Zoroark, I don't know if it was a sack or just a bad switch, but he miscalculated that predict and lost his Heatran as a result, and Weavile ended up sweeping the rest of the game. So that wasn't pretty unfortunate. Oh my gosh. Alright, so that was the end of the game. Weavile, Splorsch ended up winning in OU, which, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Splorsch again in OU. Just saying. Next up, UU. This game. Okay, alright. We get to see this again yesterday. Luthier versus ESM.
Yeah, that.
We got, first of all, the first few turns of this game, ESM played with Primarina against Amoonguss. Which, okay, it was able to tank the Sludge Bombs pretty well. Until it revealed Seed Bomb.
Yeah, that was an interesting reveal all of a sudden. Like, he just kept spamming the Sludge Bomb at first, and then he Seed Bombs. Like, we're just like, oh, this ain't doing too much damage, and it Seed Bombs, and like...
Oh, that happened.
Does a lot of damage then. Well,
it was able to tank.
Not a ton, but enough.
Yeah, it ended up doing a lot of damage to Prim. It still tanked it, but it was clear that ESM had lost the war over Among Us.
It got low.
It did get low.
It tanked it, but it got low.
Yeah, nothing else worthy of note besides a couple of toxic misses in the middle part of the game, but nothing really too noteworthy aside from those. Luthier just kind of played better.
What I remember is the end game, like the constant switching between like Raikou and Tangrowth and the Moltres. Like the pivoting between the Moltres and the Tangrowth versus the Raikou and others. And
Among Us, I think. Yeah, Luthier just kind of played better. Yes, there was the pivots and the switches at the end of the game, but it was pretty clear that Luthier had the more advantageous position at the end, so he ended up taking the W on this one. Next up, we got Michael Derbest beating Gorax. Michael Derbest is such a goat. When Michael versus Star? Please make it happen. Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway, this game. Gorax, on the first few turns of this game, Gorax went for a more offensive approach. What I mean is, Gudra fire blasting the Registeel and Golisopod liquidating the Crobat. Okay. Golisopod could have handled things a lot easier for Gorax, but Michael was so good at predicting switches that it's really hard to just compensate for that. There was a Crobat versus Steelix 1v1 in the ending, then Mimikyu came in as a last-ditch effort for Gorax, but it only took out Crobat as a result. And that basically is the end of the game. Nothing really much to say, it was just a good, dominant game from Michael. Next up, Easy versus GW. This one's a fun game. As you highlighted, Pokeart.
What were we talking about?
Easy versus GW.
Oh!
AKA one of the other highlight match of the week.
Oh, I have no idea when you stopped talking about Michael Derbest versus Gorax. Easy versus GW was one of my favorite matches this week.
Yeah, it seemed at the start. Now, Easy, credit to Easy, despite being an OU god, he was able to play around the lower tiers pretty well, and it was shown here in NU. First of all,
yeah, he could have taken it.
Yeah, first of all, he predicted well again with Xatu against Heliolisk, and even Will-O-Wisping the Diancie plus Encore with Sableye for good measure. So that was good. Scrappy, of course, coming in and claiming a kill for Sableye. It claims another victim again, Scrappy Farfetch'd, or Sirfetch'd.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will question though, at the middle of this game, I think. Why was Dragalge focus blasting? Oh, what? Well, I know it was trying to do. It was trying to focus blast the Heliolisk. But why even go with that, honestly? When you could have literally other mons that you can take care of Heliolisk better than Dragalge. Oh yeah, focus blast the Talonflame a lot too, which was weird.
I don't know.
Was he trying to predict the Heliolisk? I don't know. Or maybe the Escavalier? Maybe. But yeah, the rest of this game played out exactly as it is. Easy. Oh no, GW actually kept getting those kills after Easy claimed the kill with GW's monster. Fetch just came in and becomes the revenge killer, which was really funny. Which was a very fun, ironic thing that happened in this game. But you know what? It's a good game. It was a good game for either player. Either one could absolutely take the win here, and just so happens that GW took the win here. Next up, London versus Ninja.
Oh, we're not talking about the end game of GW versus Easy at all?
I mentioned the Sirfetch'd.
But what about like one of the final plays?
Like what? Okay, you mention it because I completely glossed it over.
You see, Easy could have won that.
Okay.
I'm just saying though, he probably would not have made the play.
Oh.
He probably would have never made that play.
Okay.
It's understandable.
I see what you mean. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe. I may have to
Basically, it was when he was down to only Xatu and Silvally Ground.
Oh, right.
Silvally Ground was low, the Sirfetch'd is out. Mm-hmm. So you would think the obvious play is for Sirfetch'd to go for first impression to kill the Silvally, which is the last thing that can actually deal damage to a Scavalier in the back.
It being banded as well was definitely also a factor. I don't know. Continue.
But what was banded?
The surf edge.
Wasn't that leak?
Oh, bro. What was I thinking? Okay, continue.
Don't they all run leak?
No, some people run band. Some people even run scarf. But
They're usually leaked in my experience.
okay. But yeah, GW could have easy could have taken that win had the surf edge play.
I didn't even say what it was yet.
Okay. Go. Continue.
So, like, you think the obvious play is to first impression, and I mean, it is. That is the obvious play.
Yes.
However, in that moment, I'm just like, Easy will probably switch in Zatu here, because first impression's the obvious play. So, in GW's shoes, not gonna lie, I'm thinking he might knock off this turn.
And he did.
And he
did. Which was
so I'm just thinking, maybe Easy should stay in and multi-attack.
And and what happened?
Because, I mean, he kind of loses anyway if that Escavalier gets in for free, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, isn't that play right there kind of like his only out?
Well, might have been, but both Easy and GW knew what they were going for, so.
Easy won that if he stayed in with Silvally on the knockoff and multi-attack instead. I can totally understand not doing that, but, not gonna lie, in his shoes, I might have actually been crazy enough to do that.
Okay.
Not that I would have actually gotten to that point versus GW normally, though. Like, if I had somehow gotten there, though, I might have went that extra mile, because I was just thinking there while watching the match live. He's gonna knock this turn. He's gonna knock off. He's not gonna go for that first impression.
Alright.
I'm gonna multi-attack.
Alright.
Of course, I didn't really expect Easy to make the play. I mean, it's a bit of an over-predict.
Okay. Alright, next up, we got London versus Ninja. From one of your personal favorite games to one of mine, actually. This was another pretty highlight match for me. And I was a big fan of this game. Both brought very interesting teams, which do work in this kind of matchup. I didn't really have notes, actually. But this was a pretty solid PU game. Both were basically out predicting each other. It was a very good game. The endgame saw Arceus getting a lucky first turn wake and killed Eldegoss, which gave Ninja the win, but it wasn't a 1v1 situation.
Did you say Arceus?
Arceus. Yes, God is in PU. Good.
I was wondering if I was hearing you right for a moment.
So yeah, Arceus got a first turn wake, killed the Eldegoss. Pretty lucky, but London could have easily won that had it not happened. But still, this was a pretty good.
Why was it lucky?
Because it hit the sleep powder on the penultimate turn. Arceus got a first turn wake and killed the Eldegoss. You said
Arceus.
Arceus! Arceus is Arceus, confirmed. Arceus.
So it was luck because it woke up early from sleep.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, so London could have easily won that game had the first turn wake not happened, but Arceus ended up getting the win for Ninja right there. Really close game, this one. I highly recommend you check this out.
Yeah, I should do that.
Alright.
Oh, wait, you were talking to the other people.
Yes. Next up, King Leo versus Tazz. This one, oh boy. When you look at it and thinking, okay, King Leo versus Tazz, two LC goats. But when you actually look at the game, you're just left scratching your head and like, this was a pretty predictable game, not gonna lie. Well, first off, we got a coughing war, or right here. It was a coughing war at the end with Leo winning and having to sack it afterwards. And then there was a Mean Foo war subsequently after that, which, sure enough, Leo also won and had to sack the Mean Foo afterwards. So what I'm trying to say here is that Coughing and Mean Foo both had wars which Leo won, but Leo had having to sack them afterwards. Very funny stuff.
Typical LC.
Poniard, well, okay, Poniard didn't get frozen or paralyzed against Ferrothorn, which was pretty unfortunate.
Ferrothorn?
No, Pharaoh's. I'm completely drunk today.
Even I'm not messing up names.
So yeah, Pharaoh Seed paralyzed the Poniard, but Poniard didn't get affected by the paralysis and ended up killing Pharaoh Seed as a result. The endgame saw Tyrant actually doing some Tyrant things and ending up basically sweeping the endgame, as you can see right here. Tyrant is a goat in LC, and so is Tazz, and that's why he picked up the win.
I was slightly surprised to not see Leo go for Protect at the end, but
well, Tazz,
I guess it made sense. Like, Tazz could have easily just
Dragon Danced again.
Freaking D-danced again.
Mm.
And that's probably what Leo thought would happen.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but Tazz ultimately picked up the win.
But maybe Tazz predicted that and went for an attack anyway.
Alright. Next up, the memeiest match in the whole game. This was full on memes. Memes galore. We got Crunchman versus Louison. Oh boy. Okay. Turn 5. It was pretty self-evident. Back in turn 5, Louison could have easily hit the power whip, like right around here. He could have easily done the power whip, even though he was intimidated and D'Angelo had the +2 defense. But he could have easily just go for it and absolutely kill the D'Angelo, which was unsurprising, but still pretty unfortunate. And then, get ready to blow your mind, folks. Cresselia brought Mudslap DNC with weakness policy, and Cresselia also had Macho Brace.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, this DNC, despite it being boosted, didn't really get to do anything because it only killed Mew and it got critted by Dracozolt. It only got critted by Dracozolt as a result, but, that was still a pretty unique set. Credit to Crunchman. Didn't get to use it, but credit to Crunchman. The endgame saw Crunchman taking advantage of the choice scarf of Volcanion, which was tricked originally. But yeah, Volcanion just came in and pretty much swept this entire endgame. Even if yes, Louison did miss the heat wave on the on the Heatran against the Rillaboom, but Volcanion just came in, swept the rest of the game, and won. For Crunchman, I mean. And finally, oh boy. Finally. Atrox Madara versus Attribute. What a surprise that the last game we cover is actually the first game that happened in week 2. So this game. It was Electric versus Ground, with Ground going into Madara's favor. But Attribute actually brought some pretty unique sets. First of all, the Shukaberry Tapu Koko was a huge surprise, hitting the Nature's Madness on both the Excadrill and later the Garchomp. Zapdos Okoing the Golurk was a nice surprise. And here's the Nature's Madness turn, by the way. It still let Garchomp get on green. And of course, there's a Grass Knot there. Gravity Landorus, I mean, was a presence. Was able to earthquake off the Zeraora, which was odd. Odd, but, it's gravity. And yeah, Excadrill was able to take out Rotom because of said gravity. Now, Magnezone came in. Magnezone came in by the end. Iron Defense, Body Pressed the heck out of the Excadrill. That was nice. And then Nidoking came in, gave the Fire Blast. Ultimately, that was the turning point of the game, and it really cost Atrax Madara the whole game, by the way. So Magnezone was able to safely kill Nidoking there. Garchomp Sweep was ultimately too late, and yes, you need the Hurricane on to hit on Garchomp to be able to win that. And yeah, it ultimately paid off, and Attribute got the win. Very, very cool Attribute. So, finally, PokeArt. That brings us the end to the Week 2 recap. Now it's time for the part of the video you all came for. The predicts for Week 3. Alright, PokeArt, it is now time to predict Week 3. First up.
This is the part that people actually want to watch, just saying.
I know, I said that. Ruin Valley Roserades versus the Salacion Solgaleos. Interesting to see that the Roserades are not performing as well as I'd hope. Not performing as well as last year. And Salacion Solgaleos keep trucking along, I say. Alright, first match. SS Ubers. 7992 versus Rim Sitby.
I'm gonna say Rim Sitby.
I'm also gonna say Rim Sitby because, my god, this guy's gonna be the unsung Uber's goat. Let me just say that right now.
He'll be sung alright. Maybe he'll even be sad.
So 7992, definitely a good player, but our Rim heavily impressed us last week, enough to be able to get my nod here. Next up, SSOU. Kyotoshi versus Blitdius. World Cup starter versus OU main Kyotoshi. This one's gonna be interesting. Both players aren't really playing to the best of their abilities. But I'm thinking Kyotoshi, because Blitdius just didn't impress me week 1 against my Java. So...
Well, that's because his matchup wasn't terribly good.
I guess, but yeah. After that, I wasn't really expecting much, so I'm thinking Kyotoshi to win this one.
Same.
Next up, SSOU, Balor versus Airfare. Not the match. I'm not looking forward to this match. This one's gonna be off the wall crazy.
Why?
Well, Balor choked the win over Star Master. Well, choked big time against Star Master. And Airfare, as good as he is, really hasn't been showing his best performances. I'm still gonna pick Airfare to win this one. How about you?
I don't know.
Do you think it's gonna be close?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. SSUU. Ploss versus ABD 1710. I've heard good things about ABD. I've heard of him actually being a great player. But
I've seen better things from Ploss.
Yes, Ploss has been killing it in UU so far, beating 2 goats. So Ploss gets my nod here. 100%. SSRU, Zio Trip versus Floss. Will I finally get to see why Floss is good in RU after 2 pretty lackluster performances?
Not gonna lie, I think so.
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's go for Floss on this one. I really want to root for Floss. No offense, Floss. I know you're good. Good. You can pretty much be good at lower tiers when you can, but let's see your oomph factor coming into play. Really, right? Like let's see you being good in RU. Zio's good. Don't get me wrong, but the Floss is the safe pick on this one for RU. Next one, SSNU, Onarchius versus iNasty. This one's gonna be, how do you say it? Curb Stompy?
Hmm.
Sorry, iNasty, but Onarchius. Genuinely.
Alright, that's the match we're on. Yeah, Anarchy should win here. Unless Nasty pulls another upset.
But I didn't think they upset to G. I didn't think that was an upset last week, but okay. Yeah, I
You're
know.
saying
I covered
Rengo beating GXE was not an upset?
iNasty. He won PU World Cup.
No, he didn't.
What?
That was apparently a lie.
Oh, well, frick.
Info. He was simply in it.
Oh,
Apparently.
frick.
Didn't win it.
You lied to me. You lied to me, folk. Alright. Next up, SSPU. Ladywriter versus Patek. This one's going to be interesting. Both players impressed me last week. Both having kept coming off great wins. I'm going to give the edge to Patek again. I think Patek has been much more experienced in the meta. I think has the better play between these two. Patek.
Makes sense, but I think I was looking at Ladywriter's wall not that long ago, simply because I wanted to see what time they were playing last week, and I was seeing just some things for PU tours.
Oh, so he actually has dabbled in PU.
Things for PU Swiss.
Oh, he has actually dabbled in PU. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think I saw at least 2 different PU tours.
Good job. All right, so Ladywriter might not actually be a slouch in PU.
Yeah, clearly he beat Avarice.
He did beat Avarice, and he's gonna be a good threat. I'm still picking Patek to win. Alright.
Understandable, but I wouldn't be all that surprised if Ladywriter actually pulled the
definitely
upset
not.
here.
Oh yeah, definitely not. If Ladywriter impresses this week, we're going Ladywriter PU. Ladywriter PU, definitely not a bad shout. Next.
Not at all. I said not at all.
Alright. SSLC. People's Highlight Match time. Kither versus Frizoeva.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's gonna be pretty close, I would think. I would think Kither. I'm thinking Kither to win this one.
Kither, yeah.
Yeah, because as good as Frizzo is, and he is really good in LC.
As good as Frizzo is, he never won the LC circuit.
Yeah, Kither has that, so Kither. Yeah, Kither.
But then again, did he participate in that?
I think so. I think maybe. We'll have to check. All right. Next up.
But yeah, you can't really beat LC circuit champion.
Yeah, Kither to win.
Well, you can, but
Well, look at Excelsior. He beat Kither last week.
Okay, now that's a very unusual case. That's a very special case. We're not really going to go into that.
Okay. SSDOU. Another matchup that we've seen quite often. SMB versus Shadow Monster 7.
Oh boy, here we go again.
This one, I think this is a rematch from a past BLT. I think so.
Oh, it has to be.
I think 6, or 7, I don't know. But
could even be multiple BLTs.
Yeah. SMB.
SMB.
Nothing really much to say.
He's like the god of doubles. You can't
Sorry,
really...
Shadow. If you pull up the upset, Shadow, I will I will credit you.
You can't really beat the god of doubles unless you're
Mamalu.
God of RNG like Mamalu.
SS Monotype. Seis versus Pot.
Wait, let me just say.
Oh.
Sorry, LCAP. We just gotta call Mamalu the brief god of RNG. For
The
that
brief
game.
god. Briefest of gods. El Cap could easily take that title when he competes in this year. Alright.
He's already the god of RNG. What are you talking about?
Never mind. SS Monotype. Seis versus Pot.
Probably one of the few times I'm going to predict Pot here.
Yeah, I am also going to predict Pot. He has been impressive in PSPL and quite other few mono tours lately. So I think over the win, and the win, of course, over Kagulus has to come to something. Pope definitely could win. Even though Seis is good, Seis is pretty hard to beat. I should know. But Pope,
Seis is okay.
yeah, but Pope clearly better in mono.
Pot's been looking good lately.
Yeah,
in Mons.
In Mons. Next up, we have the Lavender Laprases versus the Dressrosa Dracoviches. This is gonna be fun.
Hey, the One Piece team. I'm not in that arc yet.
Shh. I'm not either, although I'm really far behind. Supers. Aberforth versus Leroux. This will be a curb stomp. I'm sorry, Leroux.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Leroux. I hate to predict against you, but it's Aberforth, man.
I don't hate to predict against Leroux.
Aberforth.
In fact, I'm very much for that suggestion at the moment.
I can only see this going one way, and it'll be the same thing as last week. Aberforth dominating. SSOU.
See, Aberforth in reality was a steal.
Yeah. He is a big steal. And now talking.
Yeah, like FC. Nah.
Bruh.
Nah.
Bruh. The shade breaks my heart. SSOU. Harshall versus Clean Cuts. This should be pretty easy, I think.
Really?
I'm thinking Harshall is looking. I think Harshall is looking better than Clean. Even though Clean had a close game with Airfare last week, I think Harshall, coming off the big win over TJ and essentially being another case of the people being goated, not really being seen all that much, Harshall to win this game.
With good prep, I think so too. Gee, I wonder why I think so.
You're a Lapras, you should know this. SSOU, Reginald versus Cern. This is close.
I'm a little worried about this one, not gonna
Both
lie.
players seem very even, especially coming off wins last week. But I think Cern had a better win over Quilly than Reginald had with failures. So I'm thinking Cern to win this one, but only slightly. I will not be surprised.
I am genuinely worried about this, yes.
I will not be surprised if Raji wins, but I'm thinking Cern should be the safe pick.
Cern seems good.
Next up, SSUU. We got another case of you being worried.
Oh yeah, I'm way more worried about this one actually.
Udon Girl versus Dugza. This one's gonna be a pretty. I would say close, but knowing Udon Girl, she's probably gonna build some wacky team, and Dugza is going to counteract it. Of course, the safe pick in me says Dugza, so let's go with him. But we're rooting for Udon Girl, though. I am rooting for Udon Girl to absolutely, surprise me. Next up, SSRU. This should be pretty dang interesting. Ars9 versus Crucify.
Yeah, I agree. This should be interesting.
This should be interesting, but I think, the safe pick, and probably everyone's pick, Rs9. Rs9 to absolutely win this one. But you never know. Maybe Crucify will prep against Rs9. You just never know.
I think Rs9 should be alright because he's Rs9 and that's the only reason.
SSNU. The highlight match.
First we had Frizzoeva versus Kither, and now we have Ziri versus GXE.
A highlight match through and through. I am looking forward. Please let me see it.
I put the time in the schedule, I think.
When is it?
Saturday, 11 a.m. at GMT -4.
Ah, dang! It's 11 p.m. You know what? I'll stay awake for this one because I really want to see what happens to this one. The safe pick says Ziri, but GXE is GXE.
GXE could GXE.
Yes.
I mean, he could GXE his way through this. So
this
I
is
am
very
a
close.
little worried.
This is very
but
close.
I feel like Siri can do it.
I'm gonna go.
Tough opponent, that's for sure.
I'm gonna go with my gut here and go GXE because I feel like GXE can GXE this way.
Mistake,
Well, okay. If Ziri absolutely preps well, then we'll have a great game.
You doubt Ziri's ability to prep well?
Last week I made a horrible mistake with that because Vileplume exists. And so I'm going to make that mistake again. So I'll eat my shoes later if Ziri wins.
Better get some salt for those shoes.
Yes.
Make them taste a little better.
SSPU. Tdnt versus Druid. I'm not worried about this match. Tdnt should win this one.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about it either.
Because Druid hasn't been quite playing to the best of his abilities, and Tdnt is a goat. Despite the
fact that Tdnt seems pretty unmotivated,
yeah.
He's been playing well, at least, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking Tdnt should be able to prep well and win this one. Should be motivated to win here.
Well, it just doesn't really seem like he's been all that motivated.
Oops.
In chat. Just saying.
Okay. Sslc, one of the closer matches this week. Skelly versus Ace Hunter 1.
Closer?
What?
I don't know, Mikoi. I'm very worried about this match personally.
Skelly kind of.
I'm just saying, most people would probably not consider this close.
Well, I think Skelly played decently last week and the week before. Ace Hunter, though, has been getting quite unlucky and is on a 0-2 record so far.
He is still Ace Hunter.
Yeah, he's still Ace Hunter. And I'm picking Ace Hunter to win this one, but only slightly.
What if I told you, Skelly is our ace?
Well, Hunter. Better Hunter it down.
Yeah, that would be a problem here.
Alright. SSDOU.
I don't think Skelly's really our ace, though. But, if he was. And he's our LC ace, because we don't really have anyone else who's willing to do that at the moment.
Oh no. SSDOU. Actuarially versus Z-Strats. This one's worrying.
Oh yeah, that's a scary one.
I'm thinking Z-Strats. I think Z-Strats has been absolutely the last week made me believe in Z-Strats again. He's not washed anymore. So, good on you, Z-Strats.
Maybe he never was.
Maybe he never was. You just never know, Mikoi. And finally, SS Monotype. Maroon versus Richard Pepper. Fun one, this one.
I'm not too worried, though.
You're thinking Maroon will absolutely slay?
I know Richard can pull out some crazy things sometimes, some crazy upset, but I'm not gonna say why. I think Maroon has this.
They did face each other in BLT 7, which Richard Pepper actually won. So they have some history.
I don't feel like Maroon will make the same mistake twice.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Well.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
That's what I'll say.
Let's see what happens. Next up, the Sunny Shore Snorlaxes versus the Santaloon Swampert. A fun series, if I do say so myself. First match, SS Ubers. We got Miminger versus FC. This shouldn't be close.
Oh.
This shouldn't be close. FC to win this one. I know
I'm rooting for Miminger, though.
Miminger is good, don't get me wrong, but FC is FC. FC is a true GOAT. Let's pick FC.
Yeah, I'll pick FC too, but Miminger.
Alright, SSOU. This should be a fun one. Tdnt versus TJ. This is a fun one.
Just letters.
Yes.
It's all just letters.
But
all of these capital letters and abbreviations.
Yes, this one is a fun one. I'm looking forward to this one. I am rooting for TJ, but I'm picking TDNT to win this one.
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, TDNT has been hella impressive in OU as of late, and TJ has a 0-2 record, although I am rooting for him, so...
Hey, TJ got Sterile and
Harshall.
the GOAT Harshall last 2 weeks.
He had some pretty hard opponents, I will say.
And this is probably
this is a hard one. Opponent, this is another hard one. So let's go TJ. Zoroark versus Failures in OU. Again, another case of I'm rooting for the underdog. I know Zoroark will probably win, but go Failures.
I don't know about that.
You think so? You think this will be closer?
Yeah. I think you're overestimating Zoroark a little.
Okay. I mean, we've kind of overestimated him a little bit, but he's good. Okay? We wouldn't be if he's good.
But Pyro is good too.
Yes. I am rooting for Pirouette, but Zoroark should win this one. If we're going logically speaking, yeah, Zoroark. Next up, SSUU, ESM versus Dunox. I'm gonna
say Dunox.
I am not worried about this one. I think Dunox should win this one. Dunox has been hella impressive in UU. I want to see him versus Plus in the near future, but we'll see.
Dunox will win like every game except for when he faces Plus.
All right. SSRU. Elfuzon versus Theo. This is another interesting one. This is Elfuzon.
Yes, it is interesting indeed.
Elfuzon really dabbling in RU? Okay, I can see that. Our Elfuzon has been playing well in the lower tiers as well. Do not underestimate Elfuzon at all. Although Theo...
Elfuzon is Elfuzon. He can play anything.
Although Theo is severely not to be underestimated as well. He can play RU... He can RU decently.
Yes, he can stall decently.
Shush. Alright, I'm picking Elfuzon to win, but I won't be surprised if Theo wins. Alright, next up.
Well then, I didn't think you'd predict against Theo here, but here we are.
Alright, SSNU. GW versus Team Charm. I know this is a match you're looking forward to.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god.
I am also looking forward to this one. Both players are of course. I've teamed with GW in the past, and now seeing Team Charm.
What a coincidence! I have teamed with GW too.
And now Team Charm, of course, good friends. This is going to be close. I'm very excited about this one. I think this is going to be the unsung NU match of the week.
Unsung? Oh no, plenty of people gonna be singing about this
Oh,
one.
hype? This is hype? This is hyper than I imagined? Good.
Well, I don't know. No one's really posting anything about it, but like, you kidding me? This is
hype.
good stuff here, Weekly.
This is hype. This is hype. I'm thinking.
This is the stuff people want.
I'm thinking to go with GW, but slightly. I will be rooting for Team Charm, though. So.
Yeah, I'll go with GW too, but I feel like Charm could take it.
Yes.
He just needs to catch GW off guard.
Definitely.
Just needs to prep well. I think he can do it.
Alright.
But I'll go with GW because that's just the safer pick.
Yes. The safe pick is GW, but Charm is Team Charm has been quite unpredictable, so we'll see what happens. SSPU, Ninja versus Blimax. We're getting the old guard back again. So, this game, Ninja's been on a roll. Ninja's been absolutely on a roll. But Blimax, yeah, he may be 0-1 right now, but I think Blimax has been prepping very decently, and I think this will be close. I'm still going to pick Ninja, only slightly, but I will not be surprised if Blimax wins.
I feel funny predicting against Blimax, so
But it's Ninja. He's on a roll in PU. You have to pick him.
I don't have to.
You're going with the upset. I think Poker's going to predict Blimax. I don't know. You decide. Alright, next up. Sslc, Tazz versus Door Money. Oh boy, this matchup.
Not gonna lie, I think Tazz wins this.
Tazz has been on an absolute roll in LC. Absolutely 2-0. Absolutely been impressive. Door Money, this is his first time, so we'll see what happens. Tazz.
Yeah. Oh, and not gonna lie, there's another reason I think Tazz wins this apart from being an LC GOAT.
Because he already won!
I was gonna say that.
I scrolled down and saw, like, what happened. He already won! I forgot! This was the match that was already played.
Yes, but that's okay. We don't need to review this match.
Okay, we're saving the reviews for next week. I want to stay consistent, y'all. Crunchman versus Kesso in doubles. This will be close.
Is that a repeat? Feel like it is.
Probably, yeah. I might have to recheck that next week. Crunchman has been memeing, absolutely memeing this TOU, and has been winning. He's 2-0 right now. He has a better record in SMB in doubles.
There is no balance in the world.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Cheese has dabbled in doubles quite a bit, and it's actually been proving to be pretty well in doubles. I'm gonna pick... Ooh, this is hard. I'm rooting for Cheese, but I'm thinking Crunchman.
I'm also picking Crunchman. I don't think it's that hard of a decision.
This is hard, because I know Cheese can absolutely win in doubles as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And finally, SS Monotype. God, I feel bad for Lucas.
Yeah, but I mean, it was his funeral being slotted in there.
No!
What did you expect?
No! Go, Lucas! Go beat the Mono Goat attribute!
What else to really expect in that slot?
Go, Lucas! Just win! Win for Game Corner! Go! Win for attribute. Win against attribute. Alright. Finally, we get to the Majestic Milotics versus the Jubilife Jirachis. Not gonna lie, I think this lineup right here seems to be the most hype in terms. If you're a Smogon player, this will probably be the most hype matchup. First off, we got SS Uber's Michael Derbest versus Panu Rakota. I feel so bad for Panu. Despite how
Yeah.
good Panu is, I mean, he's matched up against Michael Derbest.
He might just go away
Ugh.
because of how intimidating that is.
Yes. Alright, next up.
I wouldn't want to face him.
Oh,
I
no.
face that
No.
guy.
Michael Derbest is too goated. Too goated for this world. Alright. Next up, SSOU. Another case of a player being too goated for this world. Unsubscriber versus Starmaster.
I don't know if... Wait, was that a pun?
Yes.
I get the feeling you didn't intend that.
Maybe a bit. Yeah, Starmaster, easily, 100%, no doubt.
Too goated for this world, and he's a star.
Yeah!
So he's not of this world because he's too goated for it.
Yes. SSOU, Spookies versus Storiel. I would think that this match would be actually closer than most people. Still picking
I
Storiel.
was thinking this could be close too.
I'm thinking Storiel, though. I'm thinking Storiel has been absolutely impressive.
Yeah.
This has been a Storiel's
Unfortunately, you don't have a stronger OU core on this.
Yeah, Storiel absolutely goated. Even though Spookies is good and has beaten Kyotoshi, it's a Storiel's game, 100%. Next up, SSUU, Cello versus Sheba.
Sheba's 0-2 right now, and
This
that's a
could be his,
thought.
this could be his first win though. I haven't really seen Cello all that much, so I can't really make an accurate judgment. But he's going up against Sheba, which is a bad sign. Just throw him into the wolves. Throw him into against the Yu goat. Sheba it is. Alright.
Yeah, that seems a little difficult to win.
Next up, Splorsch versus John Filch. Okay, I could see this match going close. But I'm going to say John Filch. I think John Filch has been absolutely been on a roll in RU as of late, and I don't think he's stopping anytime soon.
Didn't he lose to Theo?
Did he? Maybe.
Yeah, didn't he lose to Theo in week 1?
Oh, maybe that one isn't a roll then. But yeah, I think John Filch has absolutely I think John Filch, comparatively speaking, between these two players, I think John Filch is the better player.
Makes sense.
Next.
And probably more of an RU player.
Yeah. Next, SSNU, Luthier versus Wigglytuff. So, Luthier versus Wigglytuff. This was originally going to be Phantom Sticks, but last minute change, I think. Oh. Yeah, last minute change, I think, for Luthier versus Wigglytuff.
Allow me. I know what the original matchup was.
Yeah,
It was Luthier versus Phantomistics.
Yeah. Phantom Sticks got scared and say, hey, Wigglytuff, wanna phone a friend? Right here, go up against Luthier. You can win this one. So, yeah.
Maybe he was busy. We don't know for certain that he was scared. He probably was scared, but we don't know if that's the reason he was subbed out.
Maybe. But Luthier, what can I say? Luthier wins.
What can I say except Luthier?
Luthier wins. Next up, SSPU. This one is gonna be pretty dang close, wouldn't you say? Easy versus Avarice.
Yes, even though Easy is not quite a PU player to my knowledge.
But he has shown last week that he can dabble in the lower tiers. and do it well.
Yes, he is just a goated overall player, I guess.
And going up against Avarice, who is a lower tiers main. Okay, I could see it. I'm gonna pick Avarice to win. I think, having the lower tiers experience and the knowledge should definitely help Avarice in this situation.
I understand, but my gut is saying easy.
Alright.
Also, I think easy's better overall.
Okay, I can see that. Sslc, Tobias versus Excelsior.
I'm going Excelsior.
Whoa, over Tobias?
What? He's not that good, is he?
He's good. Heroic Tobias. I think you're underestimating Heroic Tobias. He has dabbled in LC quite a lot. And I think, comparatively speaking, I think Tobias is the better player. So I'm picking Tobias.
Okay. I don't know. I've not seen anything that ever really impressed me from Tobias.
We'll see. We'll check out some replays. We'll see. SSDOU, Mambaloo versus Jonas. Come on, Mambaloo. Come on. Get that hacks again. Get that hacks again, Mambaloo.
Jonas here.
Yeah. Jonas is the safe pick. Jonas should win, but I'm rooting for Mambaloo all the way on this one. And finally, Maki versus Luisin. This shouldn't be close. Maki.
Hey, I'm not saying it shouldn't be close, but Maki.
Yeah, Maki. Maki dominates Mono.
It'd be close, but Maki.
Maki. Finally, that is the end of the video. We've been recording for 2 hours. Good.
And a lot of people are probably just going to
click off the video. If you made it,
they're probably just gonna skip to the predicts, is what I'm trying to say.
If you made it to the end of this video, you're a real Chand. Pat yourself in the back.
You're a real Chand?
Champ and Chad, all at once.
But you said, like, with an N.
Anyway.
I thought you meant like a chandelure.
A shandy. That's a chandy.
You're a real chandelure if you made it to this point.
Okay.